and welcome to the Confusion Wrestling Podcast, the last bastion of independent wrestling. I'm your host, Rob Kammer, and I gave a whole speech last week about the whole Indie Spotlight thing, and we are scrambling this week. Not gonna lie, real life happened. I was gonna have an interview for you all this week, and we had to reschedule it. Well, reschedule it twice actually, which is why it's. Oh, I'm just rattling on here incoherently. But we're working through it. Hopefully things will get back on track next week. But, life goes on as life happens. So we're going to have an episode anyway. We're going to do 2 weeks in a row of Indie Spotlight as we get things rolling back on track. Luckily, the world of professional wrestling is absolutely massive, and there is wrestling everywhere. If you're willing to take a couple minutes to just take a look for it, which, if I can get on my soapbox here hopefully briefly, is why I put on my gatekeeper hat and side eye anyone when they say oh, if this company would go out of business or such and such would happen, I wouldn't be a fan of wrestling anymore. And were you a fan of wrestling or a company? I mean, both answers are okay, but let's not mislabel things here if we have to attach labels to everything in our lives. Just kind of like the Spanish Fly. Don't mislabel the Spanish Fly if they're not doing a Spanish Fly. Anyway. But yeah, so we got some wrestling to watch. Thought about doing it last week, and I kind of felt oh no, there's a window I wanted to catch in here, and I missed it. So I guess it's a good thing, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I can watch wrestling without reviewing it. Let's be realistic. But there was a company that was brought to my attention called Pro Wrestling Xtreme Mania, based out of India. They have a YouTube show called Ground Zero, and I've been hearing some interesting things about it, that they have brought in some interesting folks worldwide, in addition to some homegrown talent. So I figured to check it out, especially when I heard this week's episode was going to have Emi Sakura, who I adore, taking on Mai Saruga, just now known as May. So, two wrestlers I thoroughly enjoy, and Emi is just awesome. Not gonna lie about that. Had the opportunity to meet her in LaSalle, Illinois, toot my own horn for a bit. But yeah, so I thought I'd go ahead and check it out. And since we got some free time opening up this week, let's do it. Let's Indie Spotlight. Give a shout out to Pro Wrestling Xtreme Mania out of India. I didn't take my time just because it's all last second to do some of my due diligence out of it. So I'm not sure who's on commentary, and I don't, know a full backstory of what's going on with the company. But it is rocking a partial super indie kind of concept on here, and I'm going to note right away, watching the show, is that the production values are top notch. Just crazy, go nuts on that. So the show opens with kind of a last week on, which I do enjoy a little bit as a new watcher. Kind of gets me up to date on kind of where things are going and why things are happening this week. I am going to apologize because they aren't always that great at naming people when there isn't when there isn't either A, isn't a match going on, or B, just they'll reference it on commentary once, and then I have no clue who that person is, or there's not a frame of reference for whomever it is. But yeah, so last week Axel Tischer, God, it's gonna be one of those episodes. It was in the ring after his victory, puts over Germany, kind of announces an open challenge, which Kevin Malik answers, but Tischer is just nah, we're not doing it yet. Hold on, bro. We'll do it. So that's going to happen this week. Last week, for a shot at the Tag Team Championships, B2B gets a big win when the Burner Brothers attack. The Burner Brothers are also known as the Stoner Brothers of West Coast fame. They are in this tag team title tournament as well. We also get highlights from the Juzar versus Raj Desi, the former Jinder Mahal, in a tournament matchup for the new WXM World Heavyweight Championship. From there, we get the intro package, and we're running down the card tonight. As of right now, the card stands as Kevin Malik versus Axel Tischer in tournament action. We're seeing the debut of a newcomer known as Skylar Mei Suruga takes on the Queen Emi Sakura, and a 4-way tag team match for the new WXM Tag Team Championships is the Burner Brothers Battle Culture Inc. versus B2B and the Jai Connection. First thing I'm going to say before we even get into like the matches themselves is I love the ref's outfit, though it does give, it's like, it evokes like the combination of like soccer outfit and IRS in it, so weird nerd stuff right there. But you know, that's what makes me lovable, I guess, is my nerd stuff. That's why you keep listening to this, or I don't know, like some people think I'm witty. Just whatever, man. I don't know. I just talk into the void, and sometimes I'm lucky enough to have people actually listen to me. Anywho, so our opening contest is part of the World Championship title tournament. It is Kevin Malik versus Axel Tischer. We are starting out with Graps, baby. Obviously, Tischer, when he's not being part of Sanity, is actually a very good wrestler, part of Ringkampf for a period of time over in Germany, and then to a lesser extent over in the U.S. But actually, Malik, though, takes the early lead with the Graps. Head scissors send Tischer outside, followed up by a tope suicida. However, Tischer just immediately starts working the arm. A lot of arm-based offense. Some interesting ways to do damage on the left arm as well. Like, at one point, he kind of, like, gets Malik into, like, a hammerlock, pops him up and like drops him like arm first on the rope. I thought that was interesting, and a couple of interesting arm locks as well. Does go for the win a couple of times, get a couple of 2 counts out of that. However, Malik starts Maliking up, hits a cross body, followed up by his modified, we'll call it mollified because his arms hurt, Samoan drop for 2. We're all running around at this point, like bounce off the ropes, but Tischer ends it with a lariat, only gets a 2 count off of that, followed up by a big powerbomb. Commentary puts over Gunther, aka Walter, using his given name Walter for that powerbomb. 2 count off of that, though. Though, Tischer is getting hubrisy over there, allows Malik to make a comeback with strikes. They slap at each other for a bit before Malik hits a standing solo Spanish fly that's miscalled by commentary, of course, for a 2 count, and then I go insane because I hate it when commentary can't call Spanish fly correctly. Anyway, Malik hits a flash knee, but he can't lock in the last gear, which is evidently his finisher, but instead locks in a flash roll-up to get the upset victory. So moving on to the next round of the title tournament is Kevin Malik. We're not done yet. Tischer attacks from behind, locks in a modified cross arm breaker, armbar type of maneuver when a dude known as Venomous comes up. Like, they didn't put this in any of the packages, so I have no clue who this Venomous is, but he is dressed in black and has got like the Cobra Commander insignia on his mask. He stops, he kind of like stops Tischer, and they have a stare down. Evidently, Venomous has had history with Malik over the last few weeks. So they both kind of like back off, have a standoff, and it looks like Venomous is going to attack Malik. Instead, Swerve Bro takes out Tischer before staring down Malik inside the ring. So evidently, it's one of those situations where only I may beat you, not anyone else. Following this, we get a backstage segment. I'm terrible. I'm sorry. I didn't get anybody's names, but we were informed that Neil, who was attacked last week, is concussed and he can't participate in the tournament. The chairman of the company wants a replacement, and his little underlings like, oh, where am I going to find one? Oh, I know, as we kind of like fade off into that. And I think that segment was interesting because the chairman was not speaking English, and I'm not familiar with all the dialects of India to say he's speaking, Hindu or Hindi, speaking Hindi or Punjabi, and you could feel free to yell at me in the comments for my general American ignorance on that one. But his little assistant spoke English, and so I thought it was funny. Is like they were speaking to each other in blatantly two different languages, so they could understand each other, but just like couldn't speak the other. So I thought that was kind of funny. So we'll move on to that. Our next match is the debut of Skyler. He is taking on a gentleman known as Simpson, who gets the jobber entrance. He's just standing in the ring, looking like a Simpson. And we start off hot. Skyler takes him down and just starts wailing away. And like Skyler's outfit, as we noticed as we were watching, is like his taped knuckles are bloody and his knees are bloody already too. And I don't know if I missed that during the entrance because there's no blood in the ring. So I don't know if that was just for effect or the dude is just a walking mass of open sores and he has to like cover those areas up because he's just open and seeping in the process. But just wailing away, just full on flail strikes, followed by a power slam. We're going outside the ring, and Simpson is whipped into the ring steps before getting his head stomped on the steps. Skylar sets up Simpson in the corner and just goes ape, just flailing and headbutting. The refs trying to get in there. Finally gets in between and he gets shoved for being biased. That is where we're drawing the line. The ref DQs Skylar. So your winner is Simpson. However, Skylar continues the attack and possibly breaks Simpson's arm before an army of referees come down and the ringside doctor kind of gets in the way too. And I was not going to lie. I was kind of hoping that Skylar would attack the ring physician too, because they kind of like isolated the physician, like it was just the physician and Simpson, and I was hoping that Skylar would just break through the crowd and then take out the doctor too, because if you really want to put over someone as psycho, what's the better way to do it than attack the ringside physician as well? I don't know. Just my opinion, but interesting little squash match there. We follow this up with a trailer for a movie, like a full-on trailer for a movie called Catcha Pacha. It's no Misfits, I'll tell you that much, but it looks to be an interesting little film that's coming out later. I'm assuming WXM had something to do with the film for them to put the whole trailer within their show, though. Otherwise, like, what are we doing here? Anyway, following this, the Jai Connection is psyched for their tag team championship opportunity here in the main event. However, May Saruga is part of this group with Anthony Green, and I missed the last dude's name. But however, May is informed that she has a match right now. Unfortunately, it's not really right now because we are going to go ahead and take a pause for the cause. Take a break, get yourself an energy drink or a coffee or a whole coffee maker for crying out loud, and we'll be back. Un momento. Hey, folks. The Confusion Wrestling Podcast has become a veritable hub of shopping and treats and all that sort of good stuff. Whether you need a sugar-free alternative to energy drinks in the form of Raise Energy, or maybe even, top-of-the-line ice makers, coffee machines, and other household appliances, all through my links section. All you got to do is wander down to the descriptor of this week's episode, check out the various links, click on them, and go shopping like you normally would. Heck, like, it's no difference. You just came in and just said Rob sent you. And that way, you can get the things you need, maybe even at a discount, and the podcast gets a kickback as well. So be sure to check out those links. Thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. And we are back. We have Emi Sakura taking on Mai Saruga. Commentary puts over this is a student-teacher relationship, and for whatever reason, Emi is looking to take out all of her former students. That seems weird for me because it's usually kind of like the opposite. Like, I don't know, did all of her students turn evil? Because I have a hard time thinking that Mai is evil, even though she wrestled Grandpa once. But like, she didn't really want to wrestle Grandpa. Grandpa finally just forced her into it. That's an old match from like the pandemic era Choco Pro, by the way, if you guys want to look that up. I can't remember Grandpa's name, but it was definitely May versus Old Man. Anyway, match starts off with some grabs. Sakura showing her ring smarts, picking apart May. Locks in like an interesting little surfboard where the lock of the surfboard gives a little bit of respite, locks it in again, and then the final time, since she didn't get the tap on the surfboard, just pops May up like straight up in the air, and like May does a face plant off of that. And I thought that was an interesting little thing to see. May pops out, not just pops, but bridges out of a pin attempt and mounts a comeback, or keep on rolling for a 2 count before Sakura starts the "We Will Rock You" chant. comeback. But in the process of this is very exasperated by May's popularity. The crowd is thoroughly behind Mai Saruga. Springboard kidney stop by May, only gets a 2 count. That looked like it hurt. Emmy hits a gnarly tilt-a-whirl backbreaker, only gets a 2 count off of that. Spinning roll-up by May also gets the victory. So we got 2 matches in here that's got like a flash roll-up for the victory, but that's a way to keep Emmy strong and, of course, give May the victory. A fun little match. Didn't go on terribly longer. I'd like to see how a little bit more of these two in action, because they're both actually like really good at the wrestles. But you know, I at a certain level, I'd rather have a match go too short than too long, and so we'll live with it. But it was a fun little match to be had. Though personally, my bias would have liked Emmy to get the win, because I love Emmy Sakura. That is the sole purpose why I'd want Emmy to win. Anywho, we get some telenovela stuff as the chairman is in a car. He's trying to figure out who attacked Neil. He is talking to a gentleman named Fata, and Fata gives video evidence that him and his crew were nowhere near near the arena last week to put that hit on Neil. Following this, we get a hype video for Donovan Dijak versus Raj Desi for it'll eventually be for the championship, but in the second round of the WXM Heavyweight Championship, they are going to have the heated rivalry by the looks of it, because this is the only hype video we get for the tournament really so far. However, it is time for our main event. Fatal 4-way tag team match for the new WXM Tag Team Championships, as the Burner Brothers take on Culture Inc., takes on B2B and the Jai Connection. I'm going to apologize right now because, again, names aren't great on here, and so I'm just kind of winging it. Luckily, Fatal 4-ways are kind of nutso, especially when we got 4 teams going at it, so maybe I don't need to know anybody's names. It'll be fine. And besides, if nothing else, this is on YouTube, man. Just go look up WXM Ground Zero and figure out the names, or I guess maybe it's on Cage Match too. I don't know. As I said, like, I just panicked today, decided I was going to watch and talk about some wrestling, so that's what we're doing instead of doing things like research. Anyway, match starts off with Ricky Berner and Ragnar to start. So we got a big guy, little guy thing going on here. Eli Knight of the Culture Inc. does blind tag himself in and gets a clothesline for it. That's what you get for being a jerk, bro. B2B uses tandem offense before Culture Inc. also shows off their neat tandem maneuvers. They isolate Siraj of B2B. Anthony Green of Jai is then isolated by Culture Inc. The Burner Brothers break the pin and tag themselves in by taking out Culture Inc. The Burners just beat on anyone who gets near them, because they are the hosses of this match. These are 2 big dudes with 20 years of experience. And done a lot of training out in the West Coast as well. Riz Bomb by the Burners is broken up by like everyone. Everyone just piles into the ring, and this is where things are breaking down. Everybody's getting their stuff in. We are hitting our tandem maneuvers. We are diving to the floor if necessary. Just everyone's doing their things, and you know, if that's your thing, that's great. If it's not your thing, I'm sorry about it, but this is to be expected in Fatal 4-way type matches, even though now there's 8 people running around and a referee that kind of looks like IRS doing his thing as well. At this point, though, Mai Saruga, who's part of the Jai stable, is getting in the way to prevent, I think it's Eli Knight from going to dive, but Culture Inc. kind of like tries to isolate her. Commentary puts over like, what is she doing? Like you leave her alone. Like, she got in the way, man. Like, you're allowed to yell at her if she's in the way. Like, they weren't going to try to hit her until like she really kind of put herself in the line of fire. That's when they chased her around the ring and ended up chasing her into the ring. However, she is used as a weapon to put away Knight with some like weird little flippy thing. Jai can actually just like toss her up, and she does a spinning splash onto, I think it's Knight, to get the win. Your new WXM Tag Team Champions, the Jai Connection. The Jai Connection are ecstatic. They're clinking, kissing the belts, celebrating with pyro as we go off the air. So there concludes our show. There was a crazy go nuts match. I'm kind of surprised that they gave the Jai Connection the win. I guess I guess I don't know, because like they seemed like to be the least, I don't know, team of the teams, and again, no research. Even though like Anthony Green has been around for quite some time, and his partner is from India, so I mean it makes sense. And of course, you can't be mad at Mei Saruga. Just throw that out there as well. But yeah, overall, this is an interesting show, a great show to watch. Just again, the losing my words here. Words are not a thing on this here podcast. The production values alone and how everything was set up, like, was very professionally done. I was very much surprised for a company that seemed to have come out of nowhere and has this level of production values. That being said, like, it was a fun show overall, a nice mix of talent. It was interesting, and with these names, the names I like, so you got Dom and Dijak coming in. Obviously, I said, as a big fan of Emi Sakura, etc. Plus, just how the show was put together was fun to watch, and it's free on YouTube. So just search WXM Ground Zero on YouTube, and it will pop up, like one of the first things. But yeah, so if you're interested in that, check that out. I might have to make that part of the regular rotation, or at least catch it as I can. Going through, as we go through life. So that being said, we'll just kind of take our leave here. Thank you guys for giving us a listen. Hopefully we'll be back on track in the next week. That being said, so, thank you guys for giving this a listen. Stay tuned for the plugs and the best ways to support this here little podcast, and I'll catch you all next week. The Confusion Wrestling Podcast is a weekly podcast that is written and performed by Rob Kammer and hosted by Spotify for podcasters. The background music for this section is Ruined by Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to help support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is helpful as well, because word-of-mouth advertisement is very important for us small podcasts. My social media links can be found in the description, but Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky are at The Nova of Cass. That's TheNovaofCass, and Facebook is MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, please check out my virtual tip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova, or if you prefer more bang for your buck, go to patreon.com/Casanova, that's CASSONOVA, where for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, Chris Zach, and Elenia, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast store on Teespring. Also, be sure to check out the affiliate links in the description below. For business inquiries such as ads, sponsorships, and etc., please email rzkamer, Kamerer, at comcast.net. Thank you all for listening.